The dawn of man. On the African plains, life is tough for the ape man. Food is scarce, he is vulnerable to attack from other species, and there is competition around watering holes. A tribe of ape men are driven away from their watering hole by another tribe, and they retreat to their shelter. The next morning they wake up to find a strange humming foreign object placed before them, the monolith. They are at first extremely anxious as they investigate, but calm down when they touch the monolith. They gather around the structure, almost worshipful, and the scene ends with the entire group having made contact with it. Later on, one of the ape men is near a skeleton when he suddenly thinks of the monolith, and the realization hits him that he can use the bones of the skeleton as a tool. This epiphany moves the ape man onto the next evolutionary step. He then goes on to kill a tapir and feed on the meat. The ape man is no longer a vegetarian, and the problem with food scarcity is now solved. The tribe of ape men are then seen eating meat. Knowledge has been communicated, and the whole tribe has moved forward in their way of life. The tribe then go back to their watering hole and use their bones to kill the leader of the other tribe that had previously usurped them. They reclaim the watering hole, and the ape men now have everything they need to go on to become the masters of their environment. In celebration of their victory in the battle over the watering hole, one of the ape men throws a bone into the air, and via a match cut we fast forward millions of years. The technological age. Tools have gone from bones to spacecraft. Man has moved from the Earth and ventured into new frontiers. Dr. Hayward Floyd is on his way to the moon and has a brief layover at a space station. Man's technological achievements are everywhere to see. Velcro-equipped grip shoes, voice print recognition, video payphones, and artificial gravity. All of this is the culmination of man's collective learning and knowledge that has been passed on through the generations using the written word and language as tools. We watch Dr. Hayward Floyd employ language as a tool in a scene where he speaks with a group of Russian scientists. The group engage in socially required small talk before getting to the heart of the matter. There have been rumours of an epidemic outbreak at the US lunar base, and the Russian scientists quiz Dr. Floyd about it. Floyd is polite but refuses to be drawn on the matter, increasing the suspicion that there has indeed been an outbreak. Later it is revealed that the rumour has been manufactured by the National Council of Astronautics. During Floyd's exchange with the Russian scientists, he appears to be using his words to deflect suspicion, but that is only the conversation at surface level. There is another layer of communication between the parties, as Floyd is aware his reticence will fuel further suspicion. But despite all of man's sophistication, he has not yet conquered space. In this new environment, man eats baby food, has trouble walking, and needs instructions on how to go to the toilet. Much like the ape men before their encounter with the monolith, modern man is seen to struggle in the new environment he has ventured into. It will take another evolutionary leap for that to change. The monolith. On the US lunar base, Floyd gives a speech to his colleagues, and it is revealed that there has been a discovery. A foreign structure has been uncovered on the moon. This discovery is being hidden by the cover story of the epidemic, and Floyd makes it clear that no one is to stray from the official party line. The structure, which they call Tycho Magnetic Anomaly 1, TMA1, has been deliberately buried on the moon 4 million years ago, but by who or what is not known. Floyd, along with a group of astronauts, journey to TMA1, which is another humming monolith. The expedition group touch the monolith and then gather round to take a photo. But before they can, sunlight strikes the monolith and a high-pitched radio signal is emitted in the direction of Jupiter. The ape man's encounter with the monolith was the trigger for his evolution into man. Man's encounter with this second monolith will trigger another step forward in his evolution. The Jupiter mission. 18 months later, we join the crew of Discovery 1, a spacecraft following the direction of the monolith's radio signal and bound for Jupiter. However, the two astronauts who are on board and active within the spacecraft, Dr. David Bowman and Dr. Frank Poole, are unaware of the monolith. There are 3 other crewmates with Bowman and Poole, but they are in hibernation in order to conserve resources during the long journey. The crew has one other member, a HAL 9000, an artificially intelligent supercomputer who has achieved sentience. The fact that HAL seems to have a conscience and personality are discussed by Bowman and Poole with a BBC reporter back on Earth during an interview. They admit that it seems as if HAL has feelings, but whether or not those feelings are real, they do not know. This is an example of one of man's follies, arrogance. They have built a supercomputer which they do not fully understand, but are happy to use. Previously, when the monolith was discovered, Dr. Floyd congratulated his colleagues on the discovery, although they do not know what the monolith is. There is a lack of humility in his entire speech. When the crew attempted to pose for a photograph with the monolith, that lack of humility is again on display. Man versus machine. As the Jupiter mission progresses, Bowman and Poole's stoicism become evident. When receiving a warm birthday message from his parents far away on Earth, Poole listens intently, but there is no outward sign of emotion on display. When Hal attempts to quiz Bowman on any misgivings he may have about their mission, Bowman refuses to be drawn. Hal, on the other hand, displays more emotion than either of the men. Hal is a new entity and he is not yet able to master or hide his emotion. Hal makes a mistake in identifying an error with a device outside the spacecraft. After retrieving the device and testing it, Bowman and Poole can find nothing wrong with it, and their conclusion is backed by data from a twin HAL 9000 computer back on Earth. When Hal is confronted with his mistake, he insists that the miscalculation must be down to human error. He is unable to disguise his distress, and his manner raises concerns in both Bowman and Poole, who secretly plan to switch off Hal's higher brain functions. Unbeknownst to them, Hal lip reads this conversation. Switching off his higher brain functions is tantamount to his death. In an effort to save himself, Hal commits multiple murders. When Poole is replacing the device Hal mistakenly identified as faulty, Hal severs his oxygen tube and sets him adrift in space. Bowman leaves the spacecraft to rescue his crewmate, leaving his space helmet behind. Hal then turns off the life support to the hibernating crew members, killing them all. Bowman manages to retrieve Poole's body, but when he attempts to re-enter the spacecraft, Hal refuses to let him in. Bowman formulates a plan. He reluctantly releases Poole's body and makes his way to the ship's emergency airlock. He manages to open the airlock and is able to re-enter the ship, even without the use of a space helmet. Thereafter, Bowman deliberately and methodically disconnects Hal, who pleads for his life. Bowman is not swayed from his purpose, but as Hal regresses back to a state of childhood, Bowman encourages him to sing a nursery rhyme. 2001 is able to portray many of man's virtues through Bowman and Poole, his empathy, his bravery, and his ingenuity. He has come a long way from the Ape Man and is still in many ways yet to be matched by machines. Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite. In the final moments of Hal's disconnection, a pre-recorded message plays for Bowman. It is Dr. Floyd revealing details of the monolith's discovery. He states that 18 months ago, the first evidence of intelligent life off the Earth was discovered. The most common interpretation is that the intelligent life referred to must be aliens more developed than man, but the language used in the film is interesting, and the intelligent life could even be interpreted in other ways. It could be a god or gods, a being or beings that our human experience would be unable to describe appropriately. The nature of what or who is leading humanity along this journey is left ambiguous, and the audience is allowed to interpret the film as they feel appropriate. The spacecraft continues on and Bowman encounters a floating monolith. He exits the spacecraft in an EVA pod and is pulled into a voyage beyond the infinite. Bowman is transported across vast distances of space and time via an interstellar gateway, the Stargate sequence. He first goes through a vortex of light and then witnesses strange cosmological phenomena. The phenomena appears to symbolize birth and rebirth. Gas clouds take the shape of sperm and fetuses in the womb. Indeed, Bowman's original spacecraft also mimicked the shape of a sperm. Past the phenomena, Bowman encounters 7 diamond shapes which lead him onward. Prior to this, the shapes used predominantly in the film have been rectangular monolith shapes and circles. With the introduction of a new entity, perhaps, comes a new shape. Bowman continues to travel across landscapes that look similar to Earth, but the colours are unusual and unfamiliar, and then finally he reaches the end of his journey. The room. Bowman exits his EVA pod and finds himself in a clinical room which has been decorated in a neoclassical French style. This style has been chosen deliberately. The neoclassical movement coincided with the Age of Enlightenment, and the decor is a nod to Bowman's own journey toward enlightenment as he transitions from human to something more. There are sounds that seem to come from outside the room. They could be the sound of the intelligent life that appear to be helping man along. In several interpretations of the film, the room in which Bowman is kept has been likened to a lab or a zoo where Bowman is a human specimen. Bowman ages rapidly, and the film illustrates this by switching perspectives from a younger Bowman to an older Bowman. Finally, bedridden and near death, Bowman encounters a silent monolith and he reaches out toward it. This movement mimics the gesture of Adam reaching out to God in Michelangelo's fresco The Creation of Adam on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Bowman is then transformed into a star child who looks down on Earth. Additional observations. Symmetry. Throughout the film, great care has been taken to ensure symmetry in the composition of shots, reflecting the symmetry of the universe. Alignment. Alignment is also of key importance. They act as triggers in the film, moving the story forward. The initial Sun-Earth-Moon alignment marks the beginning of the audience's experience of 2001. The second alignment marks the beginning of the Ape Man's evolution toward man. The third alignment seems to trigger the Moon monolith's radio signal toward Jupiter, which is the beginning of man's journey toward further evolution. And the fourth and final alignment marks the opening of the Stargate. Perspectives. Kubrick often switches perspectives with no preamble. During the confrontation between the two groups of ape men over the watering hole, the audience's point of view is switched from one tribe to the other. When Bowman and Paul share their concerns regarding Hal, the audience's point of view switches from the astronauts and over to Hal. And as Bowman ages, the audience's point of view abruptly shifts from younger versions of Bowman to older versions of Bowman. Shapes. Circle and monolith shapes are used liberally throughout the film. EVA pods, space stations, and HAL are all circular, while space station entrances, buttons, tables, and screens are all monolith shapes. These circles and rectangles become familiar and are signature shapes of human technology. When Bowman travels through the Stargate, a new diamond shape is introduced. These diamonds appear to be like ships leading him on. Hal, Bowman and Paul. As mentioned, the film makes comparisons between artificial intelligence and humans using Hal, Bowman and Paul, and it's not an accident that a symmetry of colour is used to depict the three characters. Paul and Bowman don yellow and red spacesuits respectively, while Hal's one eye is yellow and red. Conclusion. So that concludes our explanation and analysis of 2001: A Space Odyssey. The film is a story of humanity's evolution and is a philosophical work. Kubrick was famously reticent about offering up a definitive explanation for the movie, encouraging audiences to interpret it for themselves, so let us know your thoughts on the film in the comments below. As always, we hope you enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe to London City Girl for more film analysis videos.